Welcome, everybody, to the 23rd virtual gathering of the Surrey Muse for Friday, March 25th, 2022. My name is Jovian Radheshwar. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you and invite you to join us for our 113th gathering of the Surrey Muse. And as I mentioned just before, our 23rd virtual gathering. The Surrey Muse takes place on the unceded Coast Salish territories of the Semi-Amu Katsi, Kwikwetlam, Kwantlen, Kakayet, Swasin, Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh indigenous nations. These nations pre-exist the nation of Canada, the nation of the United States, and it is essential that we understand the passages of history that we find ourselves located within. This evening's gathering features a number of brilliant artists, including the author Don McLellan, the poet Lillian, the musician Tawahum Bige, the open mic performer, our very own Surrey Muse member and poet Sana Janjua, and a new artist, Kashiana Singh, who is just joining us at this point. Welcome, everybody. This evening's Surrey Muse begins with our author, and today that will be Don McLellan, who is a Vancouver-based journalist and writer who has published 3 volumes of short fiction. His most recent title, entitled Ouch, 20 Stories, was published by Page Count Press in 2020 and was a finalist for the 2021 Whistler Independent Book Award, while his first short story collection, quote, In the Quiet After the Slaughter, published by Libros Libertad in 2008, was a finalist for the 2009 Relit Award. In 2015, he published Brunch with the Jackals at Thistledown Press. Don has worked as a journalist in Canada, South Korea, and Hong Kong. His literary or journalistic work has been nominated, listed, and was a finalist or was honorably mentioned for Western Canada Magazine Award, a Tabby's International Editorial Award, a Kenneth R. Wilson Memorial Award, the Commonwealth Short Story Prize on 2 occasions, and a Pushcart Prize. You can check out his website, donmcclellan.com. Please, everybody, welcome to Surrey Muse, Don McLellan.
Greetings, Surrey. Thank you for having me. The late Canadian wordsmith Alistair MacLeod warned storytellers about the importance of quickly winning the reader's attention. His admonishment is particularly salient in today's short attention span universe. If the writer doesn't staple the reader to the page, he said, they will put down your book, go to the kitchen, and make a cheese sandwich. With that challenge, I thought I'd read the opening scenes from 3 new short stories. As always, the reader adjudicates. Will you turn the page or reach for the cheese? The first excerpt is from the short story Circling the Drain. It's a wet and blustery Saturday, reason enough to duck into the Bitter End, the tavern known up and down the coast for its musky perfume and warped cedar floors, and, most nights, for an orphaned hound named Shaft, searching for a leg to hump. Anthony sinks his 3rd beer and is signaling for another when the jukebox is disconnected and curious heads swivel to Delmar Finch crooning Danny Boy. The summer's gone and all the roses dying. The bar stool he's hoisted himself upon wobbles precariously. Reviews are scathing. Catcalls urge a thrashing. The loudest objection comes from the dart-tossing Duke Shantz, who'd been confined to a wheelchair since being pancaked by a carelessly loaded pallet. "Don't make someone shut that gob for you, Gaelle," he shouts. "You've got a job to think of." Behind the shed, on them scabby knees, his drinking associates howl. The dart tournaments are a nightly event and fiercely competitive. The winner's drinks around the house, sufficient encouragement usually, but especially on this inclement occasion, as Alma Forest Products, the town's largest employer, has decided to mothball the mill. A glut in the market and a high debt load, say people who know such things. Anthony is editor of the Port Lopez Leader, a post he expects will be the final act of a 30-year run in community newspapering. Though a few years short of the government pension, he hopes to someday visit Italy's Amalfi Coast. He'd seen a travelogue on PBS about the centuries-old villages engineered into steep cliffs. Those medieval ruins, the stories they must tell. The mill closing fills the Leader's front page. Local reaction collected by himself and his reporter Jenna spills onto an inside spread. Most everyone echoes a printable variation of what a line cook at the Full Stomach, the town's busiest eatery, so colorfully expresses. "Drink up, pack your bags, we're all screwed." And he's right. From his office window, Anthony watches the emigrating vehicles thread along Monroe Avenue and onto the highway. The tear-stained faces of children waving goodbye to playmates they'll never see again. It rains about 250 days a year in Port Lopez, and that morning his oxidizing Datsun ran aground was one of them. There might be a glimpse of the blue sky between lunch and dinner, but sheets of the stuff after dessert. And then there's the wind. It begins as a harmless zephyr off in the Pacific before picking up speed and hurtling along the steep-sided inlet. On reaching landfall, trees tremble, fences buckle, umbrellas soar. An elderly gent out for a stretch was knocked onto his keister, securing for himself a footnote in local folklore. A grinding wind was responsible for his first learning of the disappearances. It had kicked up quickly, sweeping the streets as he was exploring the town. A sheet of paper scudding along the sidewalk, a poster displayed on lampposts and in shop windows, coiled stubbornly around his ankle. It was from the RCMP, seeking information about several missing women and 2 deceased. The generic graphic features a man concealing his identity under a hoodie, in the shadow of which juts a strong, whiskered chin. He learned more after he had started the job. The first victim was chanced upon in a shallow grave by a logger working a clear-cut at the foot of Blackfly Mountain. Beachcombers found remains of a second, a native teen dumped on a remote sandbar. Both bodies showed signs of blunt force wounds, but decomposition was too far advanced to determine if there had been sexual assault. Most people he talked with had decided there was, said a dog walker, a middle-aged woman. Why else would a person do something like that? Shall you read on, or go for the cheese? The second excerpt comes from the story Blown Off Course. The sun is just beginning to glare above the treetops on this chilly, smoke-choked morning in the central highland village of Son Lan Phu. A taxi drops Layla into the mayhem of the bus depot amongst the mutinous chickens and bawling infants, with the flea-bitten dogs and wily pickpockets. Her driver glances grievously at the slim generosity pressed into his palms. She elbows her way to the booking window. A timely hip check secures the final ticket. Her seatmate is a tiny tribeswoman with midnight black hair wrestled into a cone. Newborn piglets as pink as bubblegum squirm in her lap. Cursing unfortunates scuffle for space on the roof. She's calculating an estimated time of arrival to the coast, the map spread across her knees, when she hears the crackle of weaponry. It's followed by small caliber pops and heavier whomp-whomps. She's heard of residual fighting in the hills and slides, unaware of doing so, low in her seat. A young man, a student she supposes, as he's bent over a bulky text, leans across the aisle and says in a fine English, "Shooting range." Soon afterwards, the bus driver announces an unscheduled stop. A tire has deflated, requiring attention, and an unsecured passenger up top was seen at the last sharp turn, soaring into a stand of bamboo. Someone will run back and have a look, the student informs. It happens. Most passengers decamp to the food and beverage carts that pop up alongside the remote highway. She'd never been to a shooting range or even handled a firearm, but she's curious and saunters across the road to where traffic fumes give way to the arresting stench of spent gunpowder. Inside the entrance, a barefoot girl distributes earplugs. The shooters, all men, are spaced out, blasting away with rifles and revolvers at beer cans and crudely sketched paper targets. What's left of a department store mannequin topples. There's a beer hall feel to the place. Cheers, hoots, much laughter. Birds in the surrounding hills take to the overcast sky. In an adjacent enclosure, customers take aim at bewildered rabbits and rodents, as well as several life forms unfamiliar to Layla. Uzis, M16s, and AK-47s are for the cats, dogs, goats, and sheep. She hears someone say the tripod-mounted Browning machine gun, for which there is a surcharge, is a leftover from the war. The sawdust floor of the pen is stained a moist crimson, and a metallic odor defiles the air. Carcasses are heaved into a pit out back. The birds return. At another station, a man stands outside a chest-high wire fence, while an attendant shepherds spectators behind a sheet of plexiglass. A gate to the enclosure swings open, and in rushes a boy swatting the hindquarters of a recalcitrant water buffalo. The boy scampers to safety, and the man slides the pin from a grenade. An image comes to her, as images do, of a lazy summer day back in Canada, of a father and son in an open field smacking golf balls. The explosive rolls across the scarred earth, stopping like a well-placed putt between the animal's front hooves. A profound silence follows. Layla holds her breath. She had only heard munitions detonate at the movies and is startled by the intensity and volume of the blast. Even with the plugs, her ears ring, the ground vibrates, dirt sprinkles the spectators like rain. When the smoke dissipates, the buffalo has vanished. Someone points to a spot high in a rubber tree. A slab of fresh meat has snagged on a branch. Everyone shuffles onward, although she wonders what could possibly trump the disappearance of a large mammal. She feels ashamed of her fascination with the recreational slaughter, yet she follows the others to the edge of a deep trench where several downcast men are chained together at the waist. The crowd parts. A man wearing a bandana across the lower half of his face steps forward. A rocket launcher rests on his shoulder. Read on or cheese sandwich. The third and last excerpt is from the short story Side Hustle. The midweek workday is winding down when the girl shod in high clacking heels boards at Granville and strides briskly the length of the westbound bus. Weary passengers gawk at the affected flip of the hair and the short skirt clinging like saran wrap to gymnast buttocks. The pout is outlined in carnal raspberry swipes. Her skin is a smoky topaz. Those discharged out the back of the bus are replaced by stopping arrivals squeezing in through the front. He's on the elevated bench at the rear, sequestered behind an advertising flyer. The only time her eyes leave the iPhone is when the bus swerves to the curb and she absently palms the fogged-up window. It's early autumn. A rain falls. She disembarks at Alma, opens an umbrella the color of those puckered lips, struts south with parade ground determination. He follows discreetly. The shopping bag he embraces might contain bread and milk. It could be Cheerios or cat food. Up ahead, her phone flares and dies in the advancing darkness. The quiet street where she leads him is shielded by a canopy of still leafy Japanese maples and mature oaks. The ancient roots pushing up through the boulevard like half-buried fingers. Many of the homes are West Coast heritage, immaculately preserved. He circles the block and ducks into the yard. From the deck, he could see that she's alone in the kitchen and apparently in the house. She kicks off the heels, slides into slippers, disengages from the phone just once, reaching under that skirt, answering an itch. I'll stop there. It's lunchtime and I'm very hungry, and someone has presented me with a sandwich. What kind of sandwich? Peanut butter, my favorite.
This evening's featured poet is Lillian Allen, who is a Jamaican-Canadian poet, spoken word artist, media producer, and an educator who has published 4 books of poetry entitled Make the World New, Rhythm and Hard Times, Psychic Unrest, and Women Do This Every Day. Rhythm and Hard Times is a Canadian bestseller. Her work for young people includes Why Me and If You See Truth. Lillian is a 2-time Juno Award winner, and her first album, Revolutionary Tea Party, that was also proclaimed a landmark album by Miss Magazine in 1991, and for Conditions Critical. Her other albums include Freedom and Dance, Anxiety, and a recording for children and young people entitled Nothing But a Hero. A pioneer of dub lyricism, rap, and spoken word poetry, Lillian is recognized for inculcating a feminist voice in the literary dub art form. She is a founder of Toronto International Dub Poetry Festival and a variety of cultural organizations such as Empowering Fresh Arts. As a playwright, Lillian has produced One Bedroom with Dignity, Love, and Other Strange Things, and a radio play, Marketplace. She also co-produced and co-directed Black We Black, a film documentary on Jamaican dub poet Muta Baruka. Lillian is a professor of creative writing at Ontario College of Art and Design University in Toronto. Please check out Lillian Allen's website, lillianallen.ca, and welcome everybody to Surrey Muse, Lillian Allen.
Hello, I'm poet Lillian Allen, and I am coming to you from the traditional territory of many indigenous nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. And of course, Toronto has now become home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. And is called the meeting place because many of us, with our homelands in other places, have been afforded the opportunity to come and share this territory. Thank you. So I'm going to start off by reading a poem that was selected from the kind of work I make for children. And I wanted to do that because we all know children. We're connected to children. We were children. And inside of us, inside our hearts, we have our little selves. And we all know what it is like to try to fit in. And no matter how perfect you are, which is a myth, you can never really fit everybody's expectations of you. And this is just a poem for young people to consider, especially when they come upon or are going through situations like that. Good for us too. It's to the child. To the child who loves to sing silly songs. To the child who dresses a little weird. To the child whose heart wanders. To you I've written this poem. Not everyone can fit in a round or square. Not every bird will sing a loud song. Not every tree will outgrow another one. But every child can be someone. But every child can be someone. And to the child who can't always win a race, to the child who can't draw that perfect heart, to the child who has a weird little laugh, to the child who somehow stands apart. Not everyone can fit in a round or square. Not every bird will sing a loud song. Not every tree will outgrow the other one. But every child is someone. All right. So, I'm going to share a few poems with you. And I want you to think about what is it this poet is trying to get me to think about. What is she drawing my attention to? Just think about that. And then when you think about that and you listen to the words, I want you to go a little further and say, well, how are these ideas and words, how are they in the real world? How do they materialize in the real world? What do they mean for your own experience? What do they mean for your imagination? How do you incorporate some of these ideas in the world you imagine and the world you navigate and live in? How do you respond to them? Yeah, so that's my little dialogue and reaching out to you for today. So the next piece I want to share with you is a piece about, it's about Jamaican music. Yeah. It's about reggae music, the birth of reggae music, because, reggae just created a whole new space. And that's the thing. If you allow people to get out of the strictures of colonization and the expectations of the old forms that we're all supposed to traverse and be part of, then people will create their own. They will create from the old into the new according to what they need and what their heart delights in and what nurtures their soul. And reggae music is one such being that was created in the world. So is the form that I'm going to be doing this poem in, dub poetry. This is called Revolution from the Beat. And of course, just to say that all these movements and these new creations, they come from people dealing with contradictions, from wanting to scale the boundaries and the barriers that were set out for them to escape the claustrophobia of what should and shouldn't be. A revolution from the drums, a revolution from the beat, a revolution with the heart, a revolution with the feet. The rhythm and the heave and the sway of the beat, the rumblings and the tumblings down, down, to the dreams, to the beat, to the impulse to be free, to the life that spring up in the heat, in the pounding dance to be free. To burst open a window, crash up on a door, strip the crust of confinement, seep through cracks, through the routing rhythms of the musical tracks. The sound of reggae music came on a wave of patter, patter, of deeply rooted internal chatter, chatter, on wings of rhythms and melodies gone free. The bass drum, the heart, the bass drum, the heartbeat, and the Rasta man pong, a bong bong, a bong bong, a beat them drums, mon, a bong bong, a bong bong, and the sound, the sound, the sound all around, and the voice of impulse crafted into life-burning darkness of light, of days journeying through the night, of rhythm pulse wails and dreams and determination to be free, of sight, of a vision that ignites, of a musical bam bam fling down back, get up and stand up jam, in musical realignments of the planets, a joy and a singing for those on it. Liberation impulse, dig the colonialist graves, crunch of the 60s, button carried through the civil right flame, spirit of the hippies, signifying new ways, Black Power 5, the right on jive, women raise banners for their rights, communities organize, and workers struggle for human rights, for human rights, for human rights. In the core of the African self, separated by 400 years, ties blighted and nipped, a continental divide and colonialist lies, a sip from the bean of the African well, and caught the primal African self, and the well spring up, and a rhythm let loose, and reggae music found us. It was the pulse in the Caribbean that echoed bright, a voice and a beat squashed determination release, and the wondrous size of black people once again rose high from a little piece of rock called Jamaica, where Arawak and Carib bones lie. Came a breath of resistance, of peace, love, and liberation, spread worldwide on the wings of its artists and shaman. The bass and drum prance like a winded fire, it ching, 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 of a guitar strum, songs of freedom, of spirit, of love, of redemption. A revolution from the drums, a revolution from the beat, a revolution from the heart, a revolution with the feet. A revolution, a revolution. Oh yeah, indeed. The birth of reggae music was a revolution. Peaceful and beautiful and artistic and cultural. And those are the kind of revolution that we want. We want people to get in there and to create and to assert new possibilities. Simply. All right. So I want to, thinking about Newfoundland. And when I was growing up, I grew up in Jamaica. We heard about Newfoundland because, what our national dish is based on, part of it, the codfish, the saltfish, came from Newfoundland. And the story goes that we traded our rum for the fish. And it was so interesting. It's one part of the country that I really love and really feel almost at home in. And sometimes when I'm there, for a moment I think I'm back in my old home of that beautiful place called Jamaica. But what I notice is that there's so many similarities with the people there and the people of Jamaica, a kind of tempo, a kind of way with language, a kind of love for, pacing and rhythm and music, a deep sense of connected friendliness. I like those aspects of it. It's a real power spot in that way for me. So here's my song for Newfoundland. The pace of unfolding Newfoundland's life connects to my own. And though I am Caribbean in North American clime, I could make Newfoundland my home. Languid swirl of the Newfoundlanders roll, syllables greet each other as if long-lost cousins hold and embrace, slip, flip, slide away. Word rhythms sway, make the voice rise, swing, twist, and play. It is here in the family of heart rhythms and soul beats, a great big wall-less place where the language H disappears for a well-deserved vacation, somewhere between language and music in a mystical twilight haze. I found my connection to Newfoundland's soul. So that's my ode to Newfoundland. Yeah, the other piece I want to read to you is a piece about, immigration. There's a lot about migration and displacement these days, has been throughout the century, some more violent than others. But I captured this piece, or ideas in this piece and images, from my early days in Canada, thinking about the pull from third world countries, global south, so to speak. I come from a bauxite producing company, where the bauxite was taken out of the ground. It was also a slave society at one point. African people were enslaved to produce sugar, other crops, do other work, to help build the Spanish and British Empire. And after the extermination of the indigenous people and communities who owned and lived on the land for centuries. So I was thinking about, coming, that pull to come, and the idea, the postcard idea, long before TV. So what you would see of these countries, the postcards, are when somebody returns home and they're flashy, and they have enough to spend for 2 weeks. They throw money around, and you figure, wow, if I could ever be that or be in those places. There are also people who migrated or immigrated for jobs. There was a recruitment that went down, say, come up to Canada, see what you're missing. And there are people who came to school. There are people who followed their families. There are people who were in search of ideas, and they just wanted to be different. And I remember when I was growing up, I saw those airplanes passing over and those ships in the water, and I'm like, where do they live? What's in their houses? Where do they go to school? How do they walk? And I was very curious. I wanted to understand and to know what their lives were like. So I knew very early in life that I would be traveling. So I want to share this one for you, and how the dream sometimes for many people gets deferred or explodes, or buried or dead. Ooh. This piece, by the way, is called Unnatural Causes. The wind howled and cussed, it knew no rest. When it ran free, it was a hurricane, to be watched and silenced. Silence make you sit and rot, even cactus fades against persistent drought. They hope the poor will become acclimatized. See how they look at sky rises, call them mountain peaks? See how the sun greets them first in the city, makes a roll in shadow? Bong, 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 bong. Somewhere in this silvered city, hunger reels beneath the flesh, and one by one they're closing shops in the city. The epicure, the Rivoli on the porch, no small affair the sequel, Le Petit Café, the bamboo. The city, a curtain metropolitan glare, grins a diamond sparkle sunset. It cuts a dashing pose. The picture you sent on the postcard was wonderful. It reminded me of a fairyland where everything is so clean, a place where everyone is happy and well taken care of. And the sky, though, it seems so round, so huge, and so indifferent. Indifference passes through the wind that rains a new breed, breeds a new passion, the passion of inaction, the inaction of politicians, the art of avoiding issues, the issues of culture, the culture of exclusion, the exclusion of the political and the powerless. Bong, 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 bong. Somewhere in this, our city, in our governing chambers, a watershed of indelight, of neutered niceties, unctuous, click, 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 postcard perfect. Dry rivers in the valley, the thirst at the banks of plenty, the room at the streetcar shelter, a bus-stop bed, a bus-stop bed, a bus-stop bed. You can make it through winter if you're ice. You can make it through winter if you're ice. Gone frozen on many things, bareback, no shelter, ice hearts in the elements, impassioned is the wind. All people are created equal, except in winter. All people are created equal, except in winter. Right here on the front steps of abundance, Caroline Bungle tugs her load, stalks a place, invites a little company of sleep. On click. This, my dear, is very on postcard-like. Not inclined to poses, posture and unlit her plight, a dungle of terror, of lost hope, abandonment, an explorer in the Arctic of her culture, a straggler adrift across a terrain of indifference, a life unraveled, seeks a connection, a soul outstretched to the cosmos. Can you spare a little social change, please? A cup of tea? A place to sleep? A job? A job? A job? The last postcard you sent was kind of weird. Poor people sleeping at the bus stop? Surely you don't have that there. Anyways, I'm dying to come to Canada. I'm a pioneer. Okay. I want you to think about that a little bit. And then I would like to do my final piece, which would bring it right up to today. It's called Pandemic. And wow, just think about last 2 years. Think about today. Think about now. Pandemic. 1. The year 2020, time reversed the world into a pause to search the lost and found for meaning, misplaced things. Frantic, we grow up in quarantine within ourselves, but not quarantined from our fears and a conscience grown thin. How can we fathom that stepping out your door or going to the supermarket to get groceries or meet up with friends at dusk could be a death sentence? Ask any young black man. Ask any young black man. In social isolation, we rest, become restless, the unknown looming, weighty words, lockdown, shelter in place, social distance, self-isolation, quarantine, infection count, intubate, death toll, words screaming for submission. There is an enormity to the immensity of this pandemic moment. A glum, impenetrable disquietude, the Anthropocene, like worms in cottonwood. We've been moving through life like if it's our first feast paid by an anonymous benefactor with infinite generosity, eyes aglitter everywhere. People say it's a sign the greed of the world's ruling classes has gone too far, that we've given up too much of our personal values, flittering, our flitter and accomplice to the pain of the othered. Now woke in from a universal drown in busy and significance with our things, we flitter where to put our efforts, like where to put your eyes in feelings of shame. Then the George Floyd murder twisted our necks and we couldn't look away. Our flitter waited and we held our breath, didn't breathe until, in a collective gasp, we found a voice to exhale. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. The streets became our canvas, and the silence of the internet clicked and clung till community emerged, coalesced around the horror of racism we all know, gaslighted for decades. Black people are harmed by the spit and spite of white folks turning away, even above systemic inequalities and white supremacy pressing on our necks. The year 2020, the world changed before white folks did. Before white folks did enough to courage up to fight against anti-Black racism. We're all in this together. Are we all in this together? Embrace this poem. Talk back to this poem with your heart. Gentle. So I think my time is up, and I'm glad I was able to share those few pieces with you. And yeah, my book, Make the World New, is available everywhere. And thank you again. Poetry lives.
Tonight's featured musician is Tawahum Bige, who is a Lutselk's Dean, Plains Cree poet, musician, and spoken word artist from unceded Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territory. Their Scorpio Moon Ass poems expose growth, resistance, and persistence as a hopeless two-spirit non-binary sad boy on occupied Turtle Island. With a BA in creative writing from KPU, Tawahum has performed at countless festivals with poems featured in numerous publications. His land protection work versus Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion had him face incarceration in 2020. Check Tawahum's debut collection of poetry, Cut to Fortress, in March 2022, published by Nightwood Editions, along with his debut EP set to release in May 2022. And please check out Tawahum's website, tawahum.com. Please, everybody, welcome Tawahum Bige to the Surrey Muse.
Tanse Tawahum Nitsika-san, Seze Tawahum Suyi. My name's Tawahum. I'm from Lutso Kedene, and I'm Plains Cree on my mom's side. Setsi John Thomas, he Isidore Thomas, Setsune, Lucy Klee, Ekwanukam, Teresa Dume. And I'm Hungarian and British on my dad's side. Very grateful to be here on Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh territories. This is Babe Trick Magic. Crash, bang, boom outside the walls and windows. Alive, it's been several minutes since I hit a glassy glazed pipe, shooting me into space, away from corporate states, away from all this waste, erase the piles of gray. It's like vape trick magic, we are sacred, fasted. There's this hatred, graphic, they take it, then mask it. I'm sick of this rage, so just take it and take it and take it, just take it away. Just take it, take it, take it. Now I'm stoned in the evening without even toking. They put it in my candy, this new way of forgetting. And so I calm the itchy burn in the way that I never learned to take the wheel and steer before we are flattening a curve. I am dead certain that I would know courage if I left this circus on paved highway currents. I just dream of mountains. Nowhere in specific, stomach forces me to listen, erupting anxious seismic. Have you ever felt overwhelmed in the ribcage, held to leave this place itself? Have you ever felt overwhelmed in the ribcage, held to leave this place itself? As terror is injected, our scalps left reddened, I feel hatred, dejected. But I try to find the lessons, the ways that they invade our land, our bodies betrayed, then made afraid. Our spirits, our bloodlines. Then it's 9 to 5, or jail, or lives. The city needs to grind, the marrow, the mind is draining me, training me to be a lesser frequency, clogging up my arteries, disrupted sequencing. So just carry me, baby, into aurora scenes, beyond forgotten dreams. Have you ever felt overwhelmed in the ribcage, held to leave this place itself? Have you ever felt overwhelmed in the ribcage, held to leave this place itself? Have you ever felt overwhelmed in the ribcage, held to leave this place itself? Have you ever felt overwhelmed in the ribcage, held to leave this place itself? Let's see, ciao, hi. Yeah, shoutouts to Max Carranza on this beat. This is Caldera. I'm really excited to be performing for y'all today. Hope you enjoy my set. Sprouting from the rubble, I can't stop reaching for the sky, yo. Volcano under feet, erupting into my dreams. Knowing I'm never done serving, sunshades of blessed autumn burning on the backs of my eyelids. The shadow important for me to witness. I dwell in the dark, and in the dark I dwell in the dark. Feel the river swell. I dwell in the dark, and in the dark I dwell in the dark. Light emerging now, orbit decayed from doubt. Meteor crashing on down, splitting open the clouds. Understand how this comes about. Gravity grounding the stars, see into the crater that we have caught. Cavity of debris parts, curtain pulled out the radius across. I landed on this planet, system labels me a savage. So sticking to the plan and spirit, cradling this message. I have been in filled up prisons, felt the energy stored within them. They tried so hard to make it dead, bent the metal to the bed with all their systems of oppression. Tried quelling my lessons, these stresses and tensions. Arrested, aggressive, dull pencil assessor. I'll pull on the lever. For the month I spent up in that cell, felt empty wreckage turned inside out. Was running from the rubble, I can't stop reaching for the sky, yo. Volcano under feet, erupting into my dreams. The omen called me forth, rising blood, grapefruit, lunar force. Magma flow in the trees, pine seeds popping from the heat. Though no matter who soared, finding love and strength through inner source. Knowing I'm never done serving, sunshades of blessed autumn burning on the backs of my eyelids. The shadow important for me to witness. Looking up to see wings flying, spanning worlds tall as northern giants. My prayers I sing defiant, Thunderbird raised me to Orion. Saturn returns at once, rings expand with each and every touch. Please help me stabilize, I scream loud in between my cries. I no longer want to run, discard every single crutch. Breathing in my lungs alive now that I begin to recognize. I dwell in the dark, and in the dark I dwell in the dark. Feel the river swell. I dwell in the dark, and in the dark I dwell in the dark. and I'm emerging now. Yo, it's your boy Tawahum, and you know I rap for love. Family lineage, whether Dene Cree or Hungarian history, passed down in reverie along with an ancient imperial right of severing. World wars entangled to my sequence, both lines coupled to my double helix. School grounds forsaken into intergenerations, left me and my mama beaten by illusions, yo. Cause I felt detached, illustrate a lack of connection to spirit. Connect to spirit. They forge us Catholic to kill the goddess. Pour the sacrilege, Medusa's objects. We praise their crucifix, they enforce repentance. Kneel prostration with a lack of faith. All that holy, but where was the brave? From a young age, ripped away from play. In the evening, catechism cruise. Afternoon, a 10-year-old delivering the news. Bought myself candy with my money. 3 to 16 with a drug pen, loving electronic music, ecstasy. Late nights, mornings, LSD. Winter bearing trees, experimenting. Trying for an escape strategy. From the home with all the hallway yelling. Got pennies for your dimes, tell me who it is selling. Cause I felt detached, illustrate a lack of connection to spirit. Connect to spirit. Cause I felt detached, illustrate a lack of connection to spirit, yo. Connect to spirit. Hope y'all are enjoying my show so far. Big love to Fazia for inviting me, and make some noise, yo. Seeing my culture open displayed on the gym floor on Aboriginal Day. The dancer twirls, my friends crusade. Yo, the beat of drums prickle while the shame is engraved. Our giving gifts of sacred spirit are missed. Crush the palm with their medical list. Genocide of white walls, side of psych ward. I have seen it all, they try to sever our cord. Home life echoes, a stolen scoop full. Graveyards at school, trench warfare and falling shrapnel. Over a lineage taken with pride, pierced open inside the Christ omen tide. Further to psychosis, forced to take flight. Splintered my family, the wood chips of light, yo. Cause I felt detached, illustrate a lack of connection to spirit. Connect to spirit. Cause I felt detached, illustrate a lack of connection to spirit, yo. Connect to spirit. We are not detached. There is not a lack of connection to spirit. Connect to spirit. We are not detached. There is not a lack of connection to spirit, yo. Connect to spirit. Hearing the land of my ancestors and the spirit and everything, I can look back, clearly see the spirit in everything. Hearing the land of my ancestors and the spirit in everything. I can look back, clearly see the spirit in everything. My favorite one to share with y'all is Mr. Beck's New Evidence Bars of Pipe. Call it the ex-cop diaries of the traveling hierarchies. Needle nose, executive suite, it's conjecture, my lord, but I believe he does cocaine. This man put men in cuffs for 36 years before becoming security manager for Trans Mountain. He dons a Harper haircut and stands with entitlement abreast of red-coated, fur-traded, gold-mined, four-border, drawn, quarter pox, spreaded, deregulated, well-hoarded, mass sacred, lit backward, boost smuggled, gun-holstered, blaze scabbard, treaty broker, baby boomer, diva conquered, townhouse gated, clan faded, children taken, bloodbath waited, correctly stated, minds erased in Canadian value. Settler soldier, he's a settler soldier. Except instead of spreading disease and igniting cannon, he watches cameras and pushes pencils to lay his pipes to rest. This man, he lays his pipes to rest, to lay his pipes to rest. He lays them deep in the earth to lay his pipes to rest. This man, he lays his pipes to rest, to lay his pipes to rest. He lays his pipes to rest in the earth. Here we go. Yo, they lay pipes to rest, and the ocean burns, and the ocean surge. They lay their pipes to rest, they lay their pipes to rest, and it burns, and it burns, and it burns. They lay pipes to rest, my spirit wakes again. Workers stand abreast, wearing reflective vests. Police checkpoint ahead while their judge sits on a bench. Forest blaze across continents, smell this putrid stench. Trucker high on a seat, Mercin AR-15, smelling diesel fuel green, sludge thick, maple leaf, a quill, an inkwell, injunction registry, trading furs, lies, gold coins and beads, bars, a pipe, beneath earth, woods, a light, ocean surge, bars, a pipe, feel them laid, woods, a light, and we cannot wait, bars, a pipe, beneath earth, woods are alight in the ocean surge. Bars, a pipe, feel them laid. Woods, alight, and we cannot wait. Yo, here we go again. The final boss battle, here it is. They lay pipes to rest, my spirit wakes again. Workers stand abreast, wearing reflective vests. Police checkpoint ahead while their judge sits on a bench. Forest blaze across continents, smell this putrid stench. Trucker high on a seat, Mercin AR-15, smelling diesel fuel green, sludge thick, maple leaf, a quill, an inkwell, injunction registry, trading furs, lies, gold coins and beads, bars, a pipe, beneath earth, woods, a light, ocean surge, bars, a pipe, feel them laid, woods, a light, and we cannot wait, bars, a pipe, beneath earth, woods are a light, and the ocean surge, bars, a pipe, feel them laid, woods, a light, and we cannot wait. Divided, captured, they make the bucket and we are the crab. It's without a treaty, but with enclosure they seize the land. Their laws are bullshit, discarding their own science lab. Whispers in English courtroom, where they set the trap. Trans Mountains camp, intricate path shown on Google Maps. Overtime clocked and bacon, sizzling for cash. Bitumen now sinking in the wake of wrath. When the eagle feather burns, it will all turn to ash. Bars of pipe, they turn to ash. They lay their pipes to rest in the ocean surge. They lay their pipes to rest, and it burns, and it burns, and it burns. And from the sludge emerge monsters, accepted from their contract offers. Black liquids fill their coffers, indigenous filling their crosshairs. We rise on our resistance, shoulder to shoulder, insistent. For decades we waited and listened. Our next steps, our mission. Dark days ahead, test what we have said. Testing all our lessons, enact protective methods. It's not the first we've been arrested. Looking ahead with those spiritual senses, the Thunderbird is present. With ancestors we're strengthened. Bars, a pipe, beneath earth, woods, a light in the ocean surge. Bars, a pipe, feel them laid. Woods, a light, and we cannot wait. Bars, a pipe, beneath earth, woods, a light, ocean surge. Bars, a pipe, feel them laid. Woods, a light, we cannot wait. All right, well, Masi Cho for this beautiful show. Thank you so much. As I said before, my name is Tawahum. You can find me on all the social media. You can find me anywhere. It's been really lovely to connect with y'all today. And I know you're in for some other amazing videos. Shout outs to David Tallarico, who's been helping me out with the video recording today, and who has also mixed and mastered several of the beats you're hearing today. So just like that last one, that very experimental vibe. And we're gonna finish off with a track by a beat maker named Amach Beats, and mixed and mastered by Danny Lyon. So this next one is Shedding, and you can find it wherever you find music online. And also stay tuned. I plan on releasing the music video for this song on April 8th, the day before my birthday. So keep posted. Feel this deepening connection, our paths cross for a reason. The sharing this relational conversation, sinking deeper to our initial foundation. A subterranean look into your ancestry, that hallway extending deeper than you can see. Lit with the spirit world torchlight, sit in our unlimited whole foresight. Feel it wrap around your ankles and submerge. Hear the voice in the wind, it's wishing us to live. The land speaking to me, land speaking to you. Hear the voice in the wind, it's wishing us to live and live and live and live and live. Breathing deep, that first fresh air after all the forest fires that'll burn near. Tectonics underground have shifted here. Breathing that first fresh air. From echoes in this valley, flowing drum song, gusts blowing into cedar and spruce, through trauma that recently bloomed in the garden of schools, to children secretly scooped past the control of sacred dreams. Charcoal burn by colonial regimes. Past 5-century fever, pyrexia, into eyes of storms emerging from millennia of contracts well kept with the land. Witnesses holding our honor to stand for the 777 generations in hand. Past colonial lines marked in the sand. Hear the voice in the trees, the land speaking to me, land speaking to you. Listen to her speak. Hear the voice in the trees, the land speaking to me, speaking to you. What I know is, this is our growth, our turmoil to the holy filth, for something greater, more than a burden, a guilt, a duty to build and enjoy. Crosses only crucify, while the medicine wheel in us 4 directions. Learning on the ground, transform what is found. With the mounds of her words that we are bound, we scream the sound aloud, aloud, aloud. We won't ever abdicate pledges made to recreate, bonding with celerity, dumping their austerity, forging solidarity, laughing out hysterically in the eyes of new stars. Relationships form, eye contact, gaze is warm, iris fully lit with the torch of purpose. Honeyed hazel, earth and golden, green gray, sharp and hail with focus. We find clean ways, wind sailing oceans, rejuvenating place. See the fields opening out from the forest, the orange and yellow autumn leaves shed his aggression and indifference, devotion and deliverance. Hear the voice in the trees, the land speaking to me, land speaking to you. Listen to her speak. Hear the voice in the wind, it's wishing us to live and live and live and live and live. Hear the voice in the trees, the land speaking to me, land speaking to you. Listen to her speak. Hear the voice in the wind, it's wishing us to live and live and live and live and live. Merci, Joe. Thank you so much for checking out my entire set. And if you'd like to read my poetry, I've got a book coming out in this next month called Cut to Fortress. And if you would like to hear more music, I've got an EP coming out called Saturn Returned, ETA, in May. So lots of beautiful stuff coming around. And in the fall, you'll see an album from me called Courtroom. So stay posted, and big love. Masicho, hi hi. Echkasiam.
And please finally welcome our newcomer this evening, Kashiana Singh, who is a poet, a writer, and editor who has published 3 poetry books. Her first poetry collection is titled Shelling Peanuts and Stringing Words. Her second collection, Crushed Anthills, a chapbook from Yavanika Press in 2022, details a journey that unravels memory through 10 cities. Her newest full-length collection, Woman by the Door, has just been released with Apprentice House Press. Kashiana calls herself a work practitioner and embodies the essence of her TEDx talk, Work as Worship, into her everyday. As well, she serves as a managing editor for Poets Reading the News, and her work can be read and heard on various international platforms. And you can check out her website, kashiana.wordpress.com. Please welcome to Surrey Muse, Kashiana Singh.
The Earth Song. Seashore, a blistered shell finds home. Seashore, a blistered shell finds home. First bloom, the yellow bursts into a smile. First bloom, the yellow bursts into a smile. Tombstones, erupting into flowers, falling skies. Tombstones, erupting into flowers, falling skies. Thank you. Inside. Inside. I hear the pecking bird again, pecking at my window glass. I carefully set my cup down, let down my tenaciousness, release the textures of fear, cross the boundary to her, watch the receding horizon. She lingers at the fringes as if sent to magnify my gaze. She lingers at the fringes as if sent to magnify my gaze. I stammer in response to my unstoppable heart. Its bruises savor this pause. I imagine being that bird, shaping forgiveness in air. Thank you. Unstitched tongue. My tongue trembles loose, sliding backwards, is black, color of the witch, craving to unstill, unslave the truth. My tongue speaks syllables, stitched inside rebel dreams, her sharp point pigmented in carved topaz blue skies. My tongue laughs like lovers who sing elegies, saliva hums inside slanted aromas, shapes verses tenderized in vinegar. My tongue glows in a mouth of papillae, her bridle holding my vowels, mispronunciations adorn her, declaring her rabid. I unstitch my winged tongue, placing her in a virgin shrine, her flesh disintegrates, a map of watermarked rhyme forms. Unstitched tongue. Thank you.
been 2 years now since you broke us all apart. And by the way, I'm doing okay now, even though you broke my heart. I've been to India and I've been to Oregon, and I never thought I'd say I might even like it better this way. Getting used to being alone now, it's not much different from before. 20 years is such a long time to finally close the door. So I went to India and I went to Oregon, and I never thought I'd say that I might even like it better this way. Never thought I'd ever feel whole again, still not sure if I'm even there, but I'm trying to let myself grow again, just trying to breathe the air. I've been to India and I've been to Oregon, and I never thought I'd say that I might even like it better this way. I still don't know why you hurt me so, it's a mystery to me, but I've given up trying to understand so that I can find some peace. Maybe someday when the wounds have healed and you can finally say you understand what I feel, and it's a different world and I know what's real, we can look at each other and say maybe it's better this way. Broke us all apart. And by the way, I'm doing okay now, even though you broke my heart. I've been to India and I've been to Oregon, and I never thought I'd say I might even like it better this way. Never thought I'd ever feel whole again, still not sure if I'm even there, but I'm trying to let myself grow again, just trying to breathe the air. In 2 years, I've been to hell and back, dropped myself unconscious, put a pack on my back, and I've been to India, I've been to Oregon, and I never thought I'd say maybe it's better this way. I still don't know why you hurt me so, it's a mystery to me, but I've given up trying to understand so that I can find some peace. Maybe someday when the wounds have healed and you can finally say you understand what I feel, and it's a different world and I know what's real, we can look at each other and say maybe it's better this way. I guess it might even be better this way. Maybe we can say that it's better this way. Thank